This is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon FM, and here are our top stories. Former President Buhari buried in hometown Daura with Tinubu, Guinea-Bissau President, and others in attendance. Arewa ex-influencer knocks Northerners attacking Peter Obi for not attending late Buhari's funeral. Southwest doctors threaten strike over unfavorable allowances. Mayor of London Sadiq Khan in Lagos for partnership to drive tech innovation. Governor Sanwo-Olu vows to prosecute attackers of Latima officials. TikTok removes over 3.6 million videos in Nigeria over community violations. On an international scene, Trump says credible Epstein files should be released amid MAGA revolt. And in sports, Awoniyi returns to full training after surgery and induced coma. Those are our top stories. Details coming up shortly. We begin the World News at 12 with President Bola Tinubu, President Umaru Sissoco Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, and Niger Republic Prime Minister Ali Lamine Zein. They were among thousands of people who attended the funeral rite of the late former President Buhari in Daura, Katsina State. The remains of Buhari was conveyed to Nigeria by the Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila. The remains were brought aboard a Nigerian Air Force flight FGT-001, which touched ground at Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport. The body was received by Tinubu, Governor Diko Rada of Katsina State, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, governors and other dignitaries. After a farewell parade in honor of the late former Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, his remains were conveyed to Daura by road. The funeral prayer was led by Imam Hassan Yusuf at the Daura helipad. The prayer was performed by many dignitaries. Notable among them were the former Nigerian President Mamadou Issoufou and the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Others are members of the National Assembly, Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Farouk Umar, that of Katsina Alhaji Abdul Mumin Kabir Usman, and Emirs of Zazzau, Dutse, and Kazaure, among others. Captains of industry like Alhaji Aliko Dangote and Alhaji Dahiru Barau Bengal also attended the burial. After the funeral prayer, the corpse was taken to his personal residence where he was buried. Meanwhile, a popular Arewa ex-influencer has knocked his fellow Northerners who are attacking Peter Obi for not attending late Buhari's funeral. An ex-user had, after Buhari's burial, taken to social media to criticize Peter Obi for failing to attend the funeral of the former Nigerian leader in Daura, Katsina State yesterday, July 15. Reacting to the post, another popular Arewa ex-user pointed out that some other northern leaders did not attend the funeral, and so Obi should not be singled out for criticism. He stated that if Obi had attended, the same northerners would have accused him of trying to politicize the funeral. Born on December 17, 1942, Buhari served as the country's military head of state between January 1984 and August 1985. He later returned as Nigeria's democratically elected president in May 2015, a position he held for 8 unbroken years until May 2023, when he handed over his party's candidate, Bola Tinubu. The Southwest Caucus of the Nigerian Medical Association has said its members may embark on strike if the unfavorable allowances introduced for doctors by the federal government are not withdrawn. The caucus, which comprises Osun, Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, and Ondo State, said these at the news conference in Osogbo. Dr. Adeshino Fasanu, the caucus chairman, stated that the recent circular issued by the National Salary, Income and Wages Commission concerning doctors' increased allowances is not in tandem with economic reality. Fashion, who is also the Osun State NMA chairman, said the national leadership of NMA had given the federal government a 21-day ultimatum to withdraw the circular. He said the Southwest Caucus aligns with national leadership of the NMA in demanding immediate correction of inconsequential adjustment in alignment with the 2001, 2009 and 2014 collective bargaining agreement. Dr. Olumuyiwa Alonge, Ondo NMA chairman, said the federal government did not consult them before announcing the allowances. Alonge said this was the time medical doctors needed to be motivated. There is a serious shortage of doctors in the country, with a ratio of 1 doctor to 10,000 patients. Speaking, Dr. Ife Dayo Oreyemi, Ekiti State NMA chairman, said 2,000 doctors leave the country yearly, and that if doctors' welfare was not given adequate attention, doctors will continue to leave the country for greener pastures. And now to Lagos matters. Now, the Lagos State government and the City of London have launched a pioneering partnership to promote technological innovation and collaboration between the two global cities. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, disclosed this during a tech summit organized by London and partners in Lagos. The summit marks the first official London trade mission to Nigeria, highlighting growing interest in tech collaboration. The event theme was Bridging Borders: How London and Lagos Can Shape the Future of Global Technology. According to Khan, the partnership seeks to harness both cities' unique strengths to drive digital transformation and shape global technology's future. Khan praised Lagos as a remarkable city, describing it as Africa's tech capital, much like London holds that roles in Europe. The mayor described London's African diaspora as a secret weapon for boosting cooperation between London and African countries, especially Nigeria. Lagos Commissioner for Information, Science and Technology, Olatubosun Alake, called for a strong London-Lagos innovation corridor. He said both cities are capitals of creativity and commerce, with Lagos thriving despite challenges like erratic power and heavy traffic. In the same vein, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says attackers of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority officers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Sanwo-Olu, represented by his deputy Obafemi Hamzat, made this known at the second Lagos Traffic Conference in commemoration of LATMA's Silver Jubilee celebration. The anniversary had the theme Enhancing Traffic Efficiency and Safety on Lagos Roads: Challenges, Opportunities and Innovations. Sanwo-Olu specially recognized the men and women of LATMA who have dedicated themselves, often under challenging and sometimes perilous circumstances, to the critical task of keeping Lagos moving. He reminded them that their uniform represents the thin yellow line that stands firmly between order and chaos on our roads. Sanwo-Olu also appreciated the many brave officers who had made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. He said LATMA of tomorrow will be a technologically empowered agency equipped to tackle the complex challenges of 21st century urban mobility. TikTok said that it has removed over 3.6 million videos in Nigeria between January and March 2025 for violating its community guidelines. It represented a 50% increase from the previous quarter, according to TikTok's first quarter of 2025 community guidelines enforcement report. The report said that TikTok prioritized creating a safe, respectful, and trustworthy digital environment. The report highlighted TikTok's proactive approach with a detection rate of 98.4% for content removal before user reports and 92.1% of videos removed within 24 hours. Globally, TikTok removed over 211 million videos in the first quarter of 2025, with more than 184 million removed through automation. The platform's global proactive detection rate reached 99%. TikTok has intensified its live monetization guidelines and prioritized live content enforcement. According to the report on Lagos, 42,196 live rooms were banned and 48,156 streams were interrupted for violating community guidelines. It said that the platform also removed 129 accounts in West Africa tied to covert operations in partnership with Sisu Yara, a child-centered non-profit organization. The report said that TikTok is expanding in-app helpline resources to Nigeria. This initiative provides young users with access to local helplines for experts, such as expert support on issues like suicide, self-harm, hate, and harassment. It is now time for us to join Folashayo Adigun for our Abuja studio for more news.
Good morning. Here are the major stories. I am Folashayo Adigun. Indigenous people of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, under the aegis of the coalition of the FCT9 Indigenous People, COFIP, have renewed calls for the establishment of the FCT Indigenous Peoples Development Commission. According to the group, the proposed commission would address the displacement of natives, preserve their culture, and promote economic empowerment, healthcare, and education. Speaking during the North Central Zone B public hearing on the review of the 1999 Constitution held in Lafia, Nasarawa State, COFIP leader Shitu Chidawa presented a series of demands to the House of Representatives Committee. He called for constitutional amendments to allow for the appointment of an indigenous FCT minister or the election of an FCT-based official by reviewing sections 147 and 299 of the Constitution. Chidawa also urged the committee to guarantee fair compensation, settlement, and rehabilitation for displaced indigenous communities while advocating equal access to employment, education, scholarship, and political opportunities for FCT natives in line with what is available to other Nigerians with a state of origin. Among other proposals, the group is seeking the recognition of the FCT as a full-fledged state, the creation of an elected governorship position, and the establishment of a state house of assembly to enhance political representation and lawmaking. They also demanded a new constitutional provision that recognizes the indigenous status of original FCT inhabitants, guaranteed land ownership rights, and protects traditional authority. The group further called for a review of the Land Act use application in the FCT, arguing that its current form gives undue control of land to the federal government and erodes customary land tenure and indigenous rights. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has impounded over 280 vehicles, motorcycles, and tricycles linked to criminal activities in Abuja. The director of the FCT Department of Security Services, Adamu Gwari, disclosed this during a press briefing represented by Peter Olumujion. Gwari said the seizures followed a 4-day operation code-named Operation Sweep Abuja, a major anti-crime initiative led by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. According to him, over 40 vehicles were also impounded for vehicles and registration violations, including commercial vehicle operating without proper paint identification and those flouting registration rules. He added that more than 200 commercial motorcycles believed to have been used to aid criminal activities were seized, along with other 40 tricycles commonly known as Keke Napep. Gwari emphasized that the operation aimed to curb the rising crime rates in the FCT and has been well received by residents, with early signs of positive impact already emerging. He assured that all offenders will be prosecuted, with the police and other security agencies actively participating in the ongoing crackdown. Operation Sweep Abuja is a multi-agency security effort designed to enhance safety across the territory by removing criminal elements and unregistered operators from the streets. The Abuja Enterprise Agency, AEA, is set to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Guild of Optometric Directors of Nigeria, GUDON, to promote eye health among entrepreneurs and vulnerable groups in the Federal Capital Territory. The announcement was made during a courtesy visit by GUDON's National Executive to the agency's headquarters in Jahi. Acting Managing Director and CEO of AEA, Dr. Chudi Ugwada Ezerigwe, said the planned agreement will provide a framework for delivering essential eye care services to artisans and operators in the micro, small and medium enterprises (MSME) sector. Dr. Ugwada Ezerigwe reaffirmed the agency's commitment to supporting entrepreneurs and fostering sustainable business growth, emphasizing that eye health is crucial to productivity and often overlooked. Gudon President Adesoa Agbontian praised AEA's contribution to enterprise development and economic empowerment. He said the visit aimed to integrate eye care into existing entrepreneurial support systems across the FCT. The upcoming partnership is expected to increase awareness and access to quality eye care for business owners and underserved communities in the capital. I am Folashayo Adigun.
That was Folashayo Adigun reporting from our studios in the nation's capital, Abuja. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll head into the news analysis segment. If you're just tuning in, this is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I have Peter Anosike, a current affairs analyst. He's also an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Brunel University, Delaware, United States. Dr. Anosike, thank you for joining us on the news today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start with the biggest story, obviously. I mean, it's the story making waves for the last couple of days, which is the burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari in his hometown, Arewa, with Tinubu, Guinea-Bissau president, and so many other personalities, both in Nigeria and outside the country, in attendance. He was finally laid to rest. May God rest his soul. But something weird happened after that. It took a weird turn when the focus now became more of Peter Obi not attending the burial. It's supposed to be his day amidst the backlash of whatever you think about him. Of course, the reaction have been mixed, while some Nigerians have been saying let him rest if he's done his part, good or bad. Some others have been raining abuses and curse on him. I mean, have lots of backlash for what he turned the economy of this country to. But be it as it may, how the focus went from him to Peter Obi is beyond me, and I'm sure beyond you too. So what do you think about that, with him not attending the burial? I mean, he's I don't know, let's hear you talk.
Well, for me, that shows you the hypocrisy, the unseriousness of the people that's of Nigerian elites. Because I have read what Reno Omokri and the former Senate President Bukola Saraki posted. Imagine former Senate President, former two-term governor of thousands of people in Daura yesterday. All they were searching is where is P2B. That shows you how unserious that they are. Where is P2B? So, and I know their mind is not even on the one that they have come to bury. But who is going to their mind is on 2027. Who is doing right? Who is doing wrong in 2027? That's why everybody was searching for where is P2B, where is P2B. So that shows you the influence that P2B has in this country.
And that he's such a huge threat coming 2023.
And you know, the Oni of Ife described him as a tsunami. Understand? And anywhere, if you see 5 trees in the bush, the one everybody is throwing stone at. If you go there, it is only one that has fruits. Others are barren. So that shows you why everybody's focus is on P2B. P2B is not the only Nigerian leader that was not there. so many other people were not there. Understand me? So why the focus on P2B? And if he was there, people would have said that he's looking for northern votes. And we don't even know if P2B was disposed to be there or not. Understand? Right now, we don't know where he is. That's whether he is that's on top of his health, because he's a human being. He is a human being. He can become sick at any time. Other things may come up. So that simply shows you that.
Plus, I mean, come to look at it, does he even have any reason to be there? Was he even invited? You know, those are the questions. What are the modalities? You know, I'm sure. But he probably doesn't want to be embarrassed, or doesn't want to take the focus, you know, off the. Just like you said, if he had been there, it would have been a very big issue too.
Yes, that he's there for Buhari's famed 12 million votes. Understand? So I saw people there moving as if or the world is revolving around them, just to be noticed. Understand me? But P2B is not that kind of a person. I know that he will go there. That's in his own time. I know that he will go there. That's in his own time. You don't stampede an adult. P2B is an adult. You cannot direct him on what to do. But people went there just to be politically correct, to be seen, to be identified. Understand? And being that, I don't even see any relationship between Buhari and the P2B. Because when P2B was in Jonathan's administration, understand, Buhari was not there. Understand? So I don't know all the reason why he is not there, but P2B shouldn't be an issue. People there went to bury Buhari. They should focus on the burial of Buhari. P2B shouldn't be an issue there. But these are people who are just looking for every reason to paint him black, because they are afraid of him. They are afraid of him. Even a lot of the northern governors, I did not see them there. A lot of Buhari's former ministers and so on and so forth, I did not see them there. So why focus on P2B if not because they are afraid of him? So they just are doing anything that to cut him short. But I know that it's not going to work.
I mean, I'm even getting some information here that he even went personally this morning in Daura to pay a private visit to him, to the family. We've not been able to confirm that, but you know, that's what I'm seeing here and there. You know, but let's bring the focus back to President Muhammadu Buhari. I mean, he's been buried. May he so rest in peace, as I said earlier on. But what do you think his legacy will be? I mean, it's if followed by social media and from different commentaries I've heard, it's going to be it's mixed. You know.
Well, personally, I'm not a social media person. I'm not a social media person. I don't follow social media. Understand? So the issue is this.
I mean, with your age, it's understandable. Social media is for millennials and Gen Zs.
Buhari is like the proverbial elephant with 6 9 men. Understand me? So everybody would describe Buhari the way he impacted on them. Understand me? Some people have praised him that he's so and so, but for me, I remember Buhari as somebody who inflicted pain and suffering in the country.
Okay.
I'm talking about Peter Nosike. That's what I remember Buhari as somebody who inflicted pain and hardship on Nigerians. Understand? So this the issue is we should grow up. We should go and beyond this. May his soul rest in peace. Understand? It is not automatic that everybody that dies his soul or her soul will rest in peace. It depends on your antecedents. If you do well, your soul will rest in peace. If you don't do well, your soul will not rest in peace. So death does not change a bad man to a good man. Understand me? So we should go beyond this soul resting in peace thing. Understand? It is not automatic. When somebody does good, his soul will rest in peace. If somebody don't do good, but to the majority of Nigerians, they will not wish Buhari's soul to rest in peace because he put a hunger, anger, punishment on them.
But he can't be that bad. I mean, there should be one or two things he achieved for Nigerians while in government.
If you know, you tell me. That's for me. I don't know. Understand me? For me, I don't know. I begin to. I was in class 3 in 1984 when Buhari became the military head of state. 1983 December 31st, Dogon Yaro announced the coup. Brigadier General Joshua Dogon Yaro announced the coup that chased out Shehu Shagari Ekwueme government. So 1st December 1984, Buhari was announced as the military head of state. Immediately he changed the currency. Understand? So that was 1984. So people were queuing from morning till night in the bank just to receive their own money.
And he did the same thing as civilian government.
Understand me? So that suffering, that experience is still in me. That is why in 2015, when they said that he is contesting, I said this guy cannot do any good to this country. And nobody proved me wrong. Understand? Because I knew him. So those who voted for him in 2015 are those who don't know history and those who don't know his antecedents. So I remember him as somebody who inflicted pain and hardship on Nigerians. I don't know how other people remember him. Understand? So I'm telling you of myself.
Well, away from that, I don't know whether to say away from that because somehow this is linked to him. The Southwest Caucus of the National Medical Association has said its members may embark on strike if the unfavorable allowances introduced for doctors by the federal government are not withdrawn. The caucus comprises Osun, Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, and Ondo State. Said it's a news conference in Osogbo. We're back to doctors fighting for their due recognition in this country. Ekiti State NMA chairman said about 2,000 doctors leave the country yearly, adding that the doctors' welfare ought to be given adequate attention, considering how many of them live in the country. At least a few ones here. The ratio of a doctor to patients is 1 doctor to 10,000 patients. And of course, why I said this is a little linked to Buhari is some of the backlash he received was the fact that he died in a London hospital, where some of information has even filtered that they even have Nigerians in those medical facilities, and saying if he had even, for someone that was traveling so many times to hospitals in the UK, if that should have prompted him to at least fix the health facilities in Nigeria, and he didn't do that, and the ripple effect is still felt up to today.
Well, I was watching one of the videos when he was in hospital in UK, and I saw a doctor that was giving him injection on his hand. The doctor is not a white man. The doctor could probably be a Nigerian. Understand? So the issue is this: Femi Adesina, his SA Media, made a statement. It should be yesterday morning that if Buhari was using a Nigerian hospital,
he would have died earlier.
He would have died earlier. And this is somebody who was a military head of state for 15 months and the president 8 years. he is comfortable going abroad, then allowing his citizens who cannot go abroad to die in the country. One of the attributes of a leader is empathy, and I have never seen any, apart from Jonathan, I've not seen any Nigerian leader up to today that has empathy. I've never seen any Nigerian leader that has empathy, because you know that you are presiding over a people. The medical facilities is not good, and you are going elsewhere to have your own. Understand me? What's your intention? It means that you don't bother about those people. You don't care about those people. Understand me? And people are still saying Sai Baba to somebody that is punishing you. So the issue is this: London has become an undertaker of Nigerian. Mind you, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua also died in UK. Ifeanyi Ubah also died in UK. So London has become an undertaker. So even if you escape here, you may not escape there.
It is sad. Let's go to international news where Amnesty International has slammed a call by the Kenyan President William Ruto to shoot protesters, saying it will feel more violence at the time of mounting anger and deadly anti-government rally. At least 38 people died last week during demonstrations, right groups say, marking the deadliest day of protest since the start of youth-led rallies against Ruto. Now, this is more like a twin brother to NSAS, and when William Ruto became president of Kenya, people thought he was going to be revolutionary, and this tells us the kind of leadership we have in Africa.
That's what is known as political law of gravity. Political law of gravity says that people condemn why they are in opposition and do worse when they are in power. So when they are in opposition, they will say all the beautiful things. But when they get into power, those things that they were condemning, they will start doing it. A typical example is what Boname Tinubu is doing as we speak. Because all those things that he stood against, he is now doing them even more. So if it's a civilized country, Ruto would have been impeached immediately. Ruto would have been impeached immediately, because you cannot tell policemen shoot protesters. Understand me? You cannot tell policemen shoot protesters. An instance, those of us who are familiar with the American Constitution, the First Amendment in the American Constitution is the right to protest. That's the American First Amendment. You have the right to protest. And when you see an elected president saying shoot under a democracy, that guy is not supposed to be in office even 24 hours after making that statement. And soldiers, policemen are going to take that and even do overkill. Because you are not going to...
Especially the ones that are trigger happy.
Because you are not going to hold them accountable, because the order has come from the president. So whatever they do, the president should be held that's accountable. So, and that shows you the evolution in Africa, that we are still at the primitive stage of evolution, because that can never happen in Europe. A president coming out and say shoot people, shoot protesters. Understand? So, but on the other hand, I'm against destruction of public properties during protest. It's not a part of protest.
No, but the protesters have come to say that it's government-sponsored thoughts, in order to disrupt the protest and give protesters a bad name. I mean, it's similar to exactly what happened in NSAS.
And bad governance too, where you have a counter protest. Why this is for your own interest, but you are being given an envelope to go and counter what will benefit you. So that shows that democracy is not doing well in Africa.
Why is that though? Because I mean, this is coming few days after Cameroon President Paul Biya, a 92-year-old man, announced that he's standing again for presidency, and one begins to wonder why are we doing bad when it comes to democracy, and which is. I'm also saying this because I'm using this now as opportunity to say why I usually don't agree with people that blame African problems on the bigger countries in Europe, where they're say US is the reason why we do this, UK is the reason why we do that, and this is the reason why we do this, but it's an African problem, because just like the white men or the European colonization introduced a lot of bad things to Africa, they also introduced some good things. But it looks like Africa just learned the bad parts of colonization and then threw the good parts, into the dustbin.
For me, this is an individual thing. It is not even a cultural thing. It is an individual thing. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years.
Those are the very few exceptions. I mean, when you went a 1 out of 100 isn't exactly
So that's why I'm telling you
a singular thing.
I'm telling you that it is an individual thing. He was in prison for 27 years, come out and ruled for just one term after being in prison for 27 years. So if it's in Nigeria that somebody was in prison because of Nigerian independence for 27 years, who will want to rule forever?
Right.
Understand me?
Obasanjo was in prison.
Understand? So he will want to rule. So this is an individual thing. Because our evolution is going negatively, not positively. And this 2 term of in office is a product of research. Say that a leader should go for 2 terms is a product of research, because they know that 8 years is enough at least to lay a strong foundation. Understand? Mm-hmm. But in Africa, what we are having is not even democracy. It is monarchy. When somebody stays in office for 30 years, it's not democracy. One of the beauties of democracy is what? Periodic election and the choice. Understand me? Then in Uganda, what's happening in Uganda is what is happening in Kenya, it's what is happening in Cameroon, everywhere in Africa. The only person that we can boast of today is Captain Ibrahim Traore. No other person.
And it looks like the only country that in Africa that tends to practice anything close to what a true democracy is tend to be South Africa. I mean, we really don't really have political issues in the sense that South Africans will go out to protest. I mean, the ANC, they've had some challenges, with corruption from the ANC government after Nelson Mandela handed over, which unsurprisingly it affected the last South African election where the ANC couldn't have an absolute majority.
Sure.
So they now have to
form a coalition
with other small parties, which actually is staggering. But other than that, we don't get to see like a huge political issue in Africa, in South Africa,
because the whites had a very strong institution in South Africa. Understand?
Before they handed over to the whites.
They were there for a very long time, so they were able to lay a strong foundation for the democracy and the other issues.
So while apartheid in South Africa will be criticized and demonic, it wasn't 100% bad. We had 1 or 2 good things, as you've mentioned, the solid foundation.
It have very, very good things, understand? So nothing is perfect. Nothing on earth is perfect. So South Africa is better Nigeria with regard to democracy, even and other issues.
I've heard some analysts say because of the qua democracy we practice in Africa and the fact that Africans don't tend to have it best when it comes to democracy. Some have opined that Africans choose a kind of government that will suit Africa. It doesn't have to be democracy. Do you agree with that? I mean, we all know on paper democracy is the best form of government on paper, but that is not our experience in Africa. But do you stand in together with those people having that opinion?
Democracy came from Greece.
Yes.
And Socrates in 436 AD BC said that democracy will fail, and it has failed. So Socrates himself said that democracy would fail. Socrates said that robbers, evil men will hijack democracy. And when it is hijacked, it will become more than autocracy. And that's exactly what is happening now.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Dr. Anosike. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That was Peter Anosike, a current affairs analyst. He's also an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Brainerd University, Delaware, United States. And on to international news, the United States President Donald Trump has expressed support for the release of credible files on accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein amid outrage among his supporters over his administration's handling of the case. Trump said that U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi should disclose whatever she thinks is credible about the government's investigations into Epstein, as he sought to quash a growing backlash on the political right. Trump, who last week encouraged supporters to move on from the case, told reporters at the White House in Washington, D.C., said she handled it very well and it's going to be up to her. Trump also claimed the so-called Epstein files were made up by former U.S. President Barack Obama and Joe Biden and former FBI Director James Comey, despite his administration's role in publicizing their existence. Trump's Make America Great Again MAGA movement has been up in arms since the release of a law enforcement memo last week that concluded that Epstein died by suicide, and there was no credible evidence that he possessed a client list or blackmailed powerful figures. Epstein, who died in a Manhattan jail cell in 2019 while facing sex trafficking charge, has for years been the source of lurid theories and speculation, including that he was murdered and used sexual blackmail to compromise powerful figures on behalf of intelligence agencies. Still on the international scene, Amnesty International has slammed a call by Kenyan President William Ruto to shoot protesters, saying it will fuel more violence at the time of mounting anger and deadly anti-government rallies. At least 38 people died last week during demonstrations, rights groups say, marking the deadliest day of protest since the start of youth-led rallies against Ruto. The demonstrations have shaken the country, and Ruto recently said protesters who engaged in violence should be shot in the leg. Amnesty International's Kenya director Irungu Houghton said the president's comments were unlawful. It is extremely dangerous for politicians to instruct police officers on how to conduct policing during protest, he said. Irungu said such orders would escalate the level of violence through greater conflict between police officers, protesters, bystanders, counter-protesters, and even criminals and bullies. International criticism has also mounted, with the United Nations urging restraint. And in sports, Nottingham Forest striker and Nigeria international Taiwo Awoniyi has returned to full training after recovering from a serious abdominal injury sustained in May. The 27-year-old forward has been sidelined after suffering a ruptured intestine, which required a two-stage surgical procedure. In May, the first phase of the operation was conducted and followed by an induced coma to allow medical staff to closely monitor the condition. The second stage of the surgery, which involved closing the wound, was successful, completed on the third day. Following the challenging recovery period, Awoniyi has now rejoined his teammates in training for the first time since May. Awoniyi's recovery is a significant boost for both Nottingham Forest and the Super Eagles as the new season approaches. And that's the news, but before we go, here again are the top stories. Former President Muhammadu Buhari buried in hometown Daura with Tinubu, Guinea-Bissau President and others in attendance. Arewa ex-influencer knocks Northerners attacking Peter Obi for not attending late Buhari's burial. Southwest doctors threaten strike over unfavorable allowances. Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, in Lagos for partnership to drive tech innovation. Governor Sanwo-Olu vows to prosecute attackers of LATMA officials. TikTok removes over 3.6 million videos in Nigeria over community violations. On international scene, Trump says credible Epstein files should be released amid MAGA revolt. And in sport, Awoniyi returns to full training after surgery and induced coma. And that's the World News at 12. I am Solomon of Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.